of Wednesday practice. How'd the guys look out there today?
We were good today. We were. There's a lot of energy and excitement. And, I could tell the Middle Tennessee game took a little bit out of us. We gave a great effort up there. And I wasn't as pleased yesterday. But, man, we were really good today. So I was excited. From scout team to special teams to stretch line, there's just a buzz, which is exciting.
Well, I know yesterday we were talking about a little bit, there was a report this week about the SMU guys who were choosing to sit out the rest of the year to preserve their ability to transfer. I was wondering, do you have any reaction to that trend? We've seen that a couple of years now in college football.
Yeah, I just think it's getting to be, it's more accepted, right, for people just to stop playing this early in the year, where used to, there was a tremendous obligation to the team. It's just a new time, and I think we need to look at that rule probably, and because it's you're putting the kid in a bad situation, you're putting the coach in a bad situation, you're putting parents in the. I had a parent of a player call me on another team, and just asked me what my opinion was on that exact, just like you asked me, because the parent was really trying to do what was best for the kid. Is it best for my kid to save a year? Is it best for my kid to keep playing? And I feel for the player, the parent, and the coach that you're putting them in a bad spot, in my opinion.
So how would you like to see the rules be different to sort of work around that?
5 years, play 5. I mean, who really cares anymore? I mean, with COVID, we've seen we got kids playing 6, 7 years, getting more degrees. And I don't see how it's bad at all. What's wrong? We used to do 4 and 4, and then it was red shirt 4 or 5, and then it was four games. So why not 5 years and 5? That'd be just simple enough to me. And it's just a football coach's opinion, and you ask, I'm sure the administrators, and there might be more to it than just that simple of a situation. But I do think you're putting a lot of people in a bad situation. Well, let's just say I came out when I just went old school right now and said to you, by gosh, they should just finish the year. Well, if the kid's not going to get to play, and he's already played 4 games, and he's getting like 2 teams of he's getting 2 plays of special teams. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I empathize for the kid, but then let's turn that around. Say that's your 3rd team running back and your 4th team running back that are upset they haven't played at all, and then next week your 1st and 2nd team running back get hurt, and those 2 kids have decided they're done. What's the team going to do? That's what I'm talking about. Puts a lot of people in a bad position.
Do you have to manage your roster or coach any differently to make sure that you don't end up in a situation where your guys want to kind of exercise that option? Is it something you can do to prevent that internally?
We do our best here to not play our freshmen till later in the year. Obviously Jamal Liggins started as a freshman, so if they're going to start and play, that's different. But we're very mindful of burning a kid just on a few special teams reps. And I know you're thinking, well, man, special teams is important. It's dang important. It really is. Which is what was really so catastrophic for us when we got so injured. If you're trying to hold your freshmen back, being cognizant of their situation, and you're losing your players that are injured, well, you're also got to protect the other guys too. Because if you get hurt anymore, you're not gonna have a team left, right? So yeah, it's a fine line you're always walking, which is why I wish if they did the 5 for 5, what you would see pretty much is the freshmen play special teams their whole first year, unless they're starters, and then you see them start getting on the field more in normal situations as their careers progress. Because that's where you find kids in special teams. If they can make a play on a punt team or a kickoff team, they can play defense. On kickoff return, they can block and catch and return balls. Guess what? They can play offense. If you can't, you're not going to play the real O and the real D as you get older.
Jeff, where are you guys at with the red shirts so far this season? I know you had to play a few guys early that you probably.
Yeah, we're at one game with most of our freshmen. We've been very intentional with that. Ben, DeAndre, those Cam Cooper, those kind of kids, Owen Pee Wee. We've been very mindful of that. I call him North Shore all the time. My D lineman.
Yeah.
So we've been very intentional with those kids for that very reason.
I guess if you wait until later in the year, they have more time to sort of grow and develop, but also you could end up in some crucial games where you don't want to use them and they never get that opportunity. Is it a tough balance to not maybe?
No, because all those kids are good enough. They'll start on special teams immediately. You know what I mean? It's not. They're as good as the guys that are going right now. I'm just trying to help them. I'm trying to be smart with them. They're still working it, and they even travel and know the only way they're going to go out there if somebody gets injured. So we're trying to keep their game count under 4. That's just my philosophy. There's a million ways to do it. That's probably my. If you want to judge me too harsh on something, I'm in it for the kids, and sometimes the team might suffer a little bit for that because I really am in it for the kids.
Jeff, when you talk about this Western Kentucky offense, is a good UTSA offense kind of a key to slowing them down a little bit?
When you just play a team like that, you've seen it 2 years in a row firsthand. You got to go match them. You got to match them. They're going to get theirs. They're really good, and much respect to Coach Helton and his staff. We were hoping they were not going to be this good. That when we see that many kids get out of there and go, to the National Football League and he's throwing touchdowns against, which that does not surprise me. I've always thought Bailey was that good. And Stearns, those kids, but man, they, 7 steps right in there, the 10, 400-meter guy, 11, 4. I mean, those guys can really roll. They're hard to tackle. They got great schemes, and there's going to be some fireworks go off Saturday.
Jeff, I saw Joe Evans had surgery. Is that going to be a long-term absence for him? What's the outlook there?
We don't think so. But it'll be a game time decision.
Coach, the past 3 weeks, Western Kentucky, they've had 30, 73, 27. Is that just something execution, or is that something that the defense is doing to kind of slow them down a little bit, the opposing defense?
I would say it's a good question. I mean, obviously, Troy's a very good defense. They're a good football team. They got really hot against FIU. Indiana's a good football team. They beat Illinois, who just beat Wisconsin. I mean, so and I know you can play that game all day, but it's a good football team, and they did it up in Indiana. So, you look at just the people they've played. I mean, Troy plays a heck of a game against Ole Miss. They lose on a Hail Mary to Appalachian State. I mean, so Troy's a good football team.
Is there anything from those tapes that you look at and say, is this something that we can use to kind of be successful?
Always. Yeah, I've told you I've never had an original thought in my life. I just try to cite my sources because that's what my English teacher told me to do, and I'd be okay. So to me, as a kid, I was even like, so it's okay to copy as long as you tell everybody who you copy off of? I mean, so yeah, we're copying, whatever that's called, or citing your sources.
Jeff, you guys are coming off your best running performance of the season. Is this a difficult matchup to try and keep that momentum going because you have to almost keep pace with their offense?
No, because we're committed to doing it anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, we just are. And I know it doesn't look like that at times, but with the RPO game, the defense dictates that a lot. And so I would say, no, what's going to make it harder is just their girth, their mass on defense. They really went out and hit the transfer portal hard, and some of their younger kids have been developed and gained some weight, and they're more massive up front than they have been. It's going to be hard for our line to get a push. They've got some good players in there that are heavy-handed, and so we won't move them off the ball. I don't predict like we have been.
How's Mackay looking so far?
He'll be a game time decision.
Yeah.
I mean, he's such a tough kid. He's frustrated. He's only played 6 plays the whole year, and like I said yesterday, I hope for him that he gets to get out there and have some success. That kid deserves that, man.
All right, Jeff. Appreciate
Thank
it.
y'all.
Thanks.
The triangle's an original.